Welcome back. Now, it's my understanding that Nielsen has a quest here that many people do miss, because you need to have done all his other quests up until this point. So, triple dot. Nielsen? Ah, is that you, Lloyd? This is the grave of Lloyd's older brother. You were here to visit him, weren't you? That's correct. There was something I wanted to talk to Guy about. You wanted to talk to my brother? Yes, I wanted to tell him about the raid, the Declaration of Independence, and President Croy's speech. I wanted Guy to know the feelings in people's hearts and the direction his home is headed. That's why I've been pondering the darkness of the past. Darkness of the past, do you mean? Yes, I do. I'm referring to the murder of your older brother, Detective Guy Bannings. Excuse me? Guy's death? Where's that coming from? Why now? No, wait. It relates to what's happening in Crossbell right now, doesn't it? What exactly is it you know, Nielsen? Lloyd, Special Support Section. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like for us to go somewhere else and have you review that case for me. How does that sound? Agree to Nielsen's proposal, yeah? Alright. If you're willing to, then so are we. Thank you for your cooperation. Just so happens, I have the perfect place in mind. Let's head back to the city. Review Guy Banning's murder. Again, updated autopsy report? Why come to Galante Jazz Bar specifically? 3 years ago, Guy and I had agreed to meet here for another one of our friendly info swaps. And just before that time and date we'd agreed on, I learned the news of his death. Oh, that's why. It was behind the cult incident, the arrest of Imperial and Republican faction Diet members, the election of a new mayor, inaugural West Sumerian Trade Conference, the raid on Crossbell City, and now Crossbell's Declaration of Independence. Each of these events may appear solitary, but they are actually intertwined. In other words, they're all pieces of a much larger puzzle. Larger puzzle? Could that be? Yes, if one were to figure out the bigger picture in all of this, the rest of the pieces would surely begin to fall into place. By doing so, I believe we'll be able to shed new light on the murder of Guy Bannings. That is why I propose this case review. However, I know this could be difficult for you, Lloyd. No, I'm alright. Lloyd. Are you sure, Lloyd? Don't forget, time ain't exactly on your side today. You get this show on the road, yeah? That's fine with me. Oh, change of music. Let's begin. We should start by examining the conditions in which Guy's body was discovered. It was a rainy day 3 years ago, at Orcus Tower's construction site, so he was investigating the construction site. The time of death was estimated to be just past dawn, though the body was not found until half a day later. Really does feel like Ace Attorney at this point. As for the cause of death, it was hemorrhagic shock and blood loss. Someone shot him from behind with an orbital gun, straight through the heart. Does all of that sound correct? Yes, that's right. He was shot in the back. Damn, what the hell? Now onto the crime scene and the state it was in when his body was discovered. To begin, there were signs of a fierce struggle at the scene. However, the only physical evidence left behind was Guy's body itself. Not only were his favourite tomfers not at the crime scene, but his CPD badge that he proudly wore on his chest was missing as well. It's come to my understanding that his badge was recently discovered. Is it true that it was taken by a member of the Revache Mafia? Yeah, we found it in Marconi's office and he later confirmed it. The mafioso that took it even confessed to lifting it off his body after the court incident was resolved. I see. However, that was, as you said, after the fact. As far as eyewitnesses go, there were none. At the time, there was no construction staff on site. The time of day and conditions were also unfavourable. It was the crack of dawn, and There was a thunderstorm at the time. Because of that, there was no reason for anyone to approach the scene, leaving it isolated. To make matters worse, Guy didn't speak of anyone before heading there. No one knew where he was in the hours leading up to the crime. And that is where my trail goes cold. A trail of cold steel, you might say. Everything you just heard is all I've been able to gather these last 3 years. So, Lloyd, is there anything you can add? No, I don't think so. You covered everything I knew, too. Nielsen's ability to collect information never ceases to amaze. Yes, even Guy was one of his sources before he passed. That must be why he's taken such a vested interest in this cold case. If you're ready, then let's move on to the case review. If we're to solve the case, then we must carefully consider the potential culprit. The obvious place to start would be to go over the most likely suspects, namely Revache and the DG cult. Do you think that one of them is likely the culprit, Lloyd? No. Simply put, I've got my own suspicions in mind that I've mentioned previously, so neither of them. No, I don't. It couldn't have been either one of them. As far as Revache goes, and accounting for both Marconi and the mafioso that picked up the badge, Yohim told us that although he arranged for Revache to kill my brother, they failed to carry it out. Garcia Rossi admitted it to Yohim when Marconi tried to take credit. There's also no evidence to suggest that anyone else within the Mafia went behind their backs and carried out the murder. Not only that, but Guy was also already investigating both the Mafia and Yohim. His defenses were up. He would never put himself in a position where he believed either one of them could strike and take his life. Yeah, so it'd have to be in a position where he's let his guard down. It's like a friend or something like that. Just can't fathom that would be the case. Gotta agree. Chances are slim. Everything we've come to learn about the dude says he wasn't just ballsy, he was a damn good detective too. That is right. I've never been able to accept that he lost to either the Mafia or the cult. I know that just as well as you do. The elements of the case point elsewhere. I thought for years that either being the culprit simply didn't add up. Now that the cult incident has been resolved, I'd say the odds of either are 0. So let's move down the list. Well, the possibility that he was assassinated by someone from one of the 2 major powers. We should also consider Imperial and Republican faction Diet members, high-ranking government officials and intelligent officers that had close ties with him. Do you think it's possible that Guy's death was at the hands of someone who matches that description? It's unlikely. It's like it's possible, but it's not highly likely. It's unlikely. It's not impossible to say. It's just unlikely. No, I think that's unlikely. It's true that there have always been officials within Crossbell with corrupt ties to the 2 major powers. It's also true that my brother was a staunch advocate of opposing those kinds of injustices. Additionally, we can now say for certain that spies from both countries were frequently visiting Crossbell around that time. But to be frank, I doubt it. As much as I believe in my brother, I know he was in no real position to touch them. They likely didn't view him as a serious threat. Unfortunately, you're probably right. I hate to admit it, but each country could apply tremendous pressure on the CPD through the state government if they really wanted to. Especially under the old administration when Guy was alive. It would have been far too easy. Yeah, it just doesn't fit. No matter how much of a thorn in the side he was, I don't think they would lure him somewhere to kill him. It would simply be too high risk when they could just have easily silenced him through politics and bureaucracy. Let's say, I'm just talking hypotheticals here, that Lloyd's bro was in contact with someone who could off him like that. He still won't walk into an obvious trap, same deal as with the Mafia. Yeah. Would be someone he trusts. I have to agree. Impressive. Those are my thoughts exactly. Then let's consider our final possibilities. You eliminated a larger pool of suspects that have been considered thus far. Tell me, do you think there is someone else who could fit the profile of Guy's killer? I mean, so he keeps letting he's got to let his guard down, so it's like someone he knew very well. It had to have been someone he knew and trusted. It's the only profile that fits perfectly. What? Are you serious? What makes you say that? Well, first of all, no one claims to have known where my brother was at the time. That leads me to believe he wasn't just going headfirst into danger by himself. Or at least he didn't think he was. The only reason he wouldn't tell anyone and wouldn't have had his guard up is if he was going to meet someone he knew and trusted. That's true. Whether Guy was asked to go there, or whether the meeting was his idea, is impossible to say. Considering the meeting place, an empty construction site, clearly whatever the meeting was about, had to have been important. I didn't want anyone to hear what they were discussing. It's possible the conversation went awry, completely broke down to the point of no return. Maybe that's why the other party took his life. And what of the topic? Any ideas? I honestly don't know. I'm gonna say what the hell's going on with Orcus Tower, because it's at the construction site. There's something going on with it, so... Whatever it was, it cost him his life. It was grievous enough for the other party to betray him. I don't use this word lightly, but it might have been linked to a very deep conspiracy. Conspiracy? We began this review by you saying that looking at the bigger picture could shed new light on this case. At the moment, I feel like I realized something important. Did you know? Can't get past the possibility that my brother was investigating some kind of conspiracy. Don't know what it involved. It could have been about the DG cult, the Mafia, or the Empire and Republic. Maybe it was something else entirely. But whatever it was, the culprit couldn't allow Guy to interfere. Chances are that conspiracy is still alive and well to this day. Does that sound like the most logical explanation? Something else entirely? And it could even be an ongoing conspiracy. The killer is still at large, after all. Can't help but be drawn to the conclusion, given that. The fact that the culprit is still out there must mean that whatever they were deep enough into kill Guy over, it's not settled yet. Triple dot. Nielsen? Sorry, was that too far-fetched? Like, no, it was completely on the money. No, not at all. I think your reasoning is perfectly sound. Let me ask you this, Lloyd. As we were reviewing this case, did anyone in particular come to mind? Your theory is someone close to Guy killed him at the construction site 3 years ago. Does that mean you have someone you suspect? Unfortunately, I don't. Even if we narrow it down to those my brother knew personally, there's still a lot of people. To his credit, Guy was popular. There were also two other key details. When it happened, he had his back turned. Whoever it was took his tonfas with them. I suspect that those two details are important to figuring out what really happened that day. Why would they... Okay, so, right. That's a detail that I'm... Immediately, it's rung some kind of bell in my head. Why would you take the tonfas? Like, the tonfas have to have something on them that signifies something. That gives away something that happened there. It has to be evidence, essentially. Like, they left... Right, it has to be evidence for something. They even left behind his badge with the gun... with the gunshot. Well, the mark on it from, like, the bullet going across it. I don't know how you'd call that. The scratch? Whatever you'd call that. Like, that badge, we know about that. But that was taken as well. And we got that later. So it's like, what did the tonfas signify? What did they show? So it's like, it's that sort of thing. It's like I'm imagining a rainy day. Guy Banning's walking up, assuming there was a hill at that point. He was walking up the hill to this construction site where they're starting to build, I assume starting probably partway through, Orcus Tower. Now, my suspicion he was going there to go and meet Mr. Grimwood. But Mr. Grimwood could easily have a gun and could shoot him. Easily, could have an orbital gun. You can get them easily in Crossbell, I imagine. It's very easy to do. So he could easily have shot him in the back, and maybe they had a discussion and he left. But then why why would he then take the tonfas? He wouldn't. There'd be no indication as to why he would take the tonfas. Then there was another suspicion I had when he was talking, like Lloyd in here was talking. Just very much that idea of like, well, it could be Sergei. But again, Sergei uses a gun. And my mind is very much coming like, all the closest friends and stuff like that. There's one person that makes sense of why you take the tonfas. Sort of. It's very much a case of like, was Guy going to Orcus Tower to investigate something? When he got there, he somehow ended up in a fight with Arios. And because he was in a fight with Arios, his tonfas had blade cut marks. Maybe that's what was on the badge. Maybe that's not a bullet remnant, a scratch from a bullet. Maybe it's from his blade. But I still, like, even with that logic, it's like I still don't think that is Arios who killed him. I'm thinking he got in a fight with him, and that's why the tonfas were taken, so it's like we could never point towards it being Arios, because if you have no evidence of there being a scuffle and a fight with Arios, he would never be suspected. If he's never suspected, he could carry on going to pursue to where he is now. Like, nothing could ever be implicated his way. Then if we look at the possibilities then, he was shot in the back. So if he was shot in the back, maybe like middle of the fight, he was shot by someone else. And that again goes back to the other two possibilities that I have. Mr. Grimwood's still my number one just because of tropes and stuff. But there is that possibility that Sergei was there. And we know those three work together. They were friends and stuff like that. They worked for the CPD together. But the thing that makes me lean towards like Mr. Grimwood at this point more than anything is actually Mr. Grimwood's involvement in everything that's happening right now. Sergei doesn't seem involved that much. If he was part of this big conspiracy, he would not be as low level as he is the best way of putting it. He still seems to be very much like a dude who's trying to get things right. As Mr. Grimwood's been directly connected to everything, Arios has been connected to everything, so it's like they're my two suspects as to what happened. So I don't think Arios killed Kim, but I think Arios is massively involved, and that's why the tonfas are gone. Because they would show someone was using blade skills in a fight. Nothing you can do about the gunshot, because there's a hole through him. Has to be a hole through him if something went through his chest and scratched his badge. But again, is the scratch from a blade? I don't know. But yeah, that's it all comes down to those tonfas. Why? Anyway, I expect that those two details are important to figuring out what really happened that day. That said, if those details alone could identify the culprit, First Division would have solved this case 3 years ago. That's also a fair conclusion. Fortunately, not every piece has been assembled yet, and the culprit cannot be identified. However, I do think one thing has made itself very clear. The only one who can uncover those missing pieces and finally solve this puzzle is you, Lloyd. Do you really believe that, Nielsen? I intend to. Glad to hear it. It's strange. I suddenly feel as though I've made good on my promise to meet Guy here 3 years ago and exchange info with him. I owe all of you my thanks for indulging me with this review. Not at all. I think we're in your debt yet again. You're too kind. However, I think I should be going now. Greatly look forward to the next chapter the SSS writes. I'd be intrigued to like hear your theories and stuff like that. Not spoilers. That's the difference there. Not spoilers. Theories on like what the evidence could point to. Again, it's like it implies a scuffle with Arios, and while that was happening, he was shot in the back. And it all has to do with, like, him uncovering something, most likely to do with what's going on with Orcus Tower and the grand conspiracy around that. I think Nielsen was looking to help us more than he was hoping that we would help him. You might be onto something, Tio. Keeping his promise to my brother could have been his real goal. I'm glad he and I got to meet. Can't help but agree. I feel you. Alrighty, I'm fired up now. Let's get back out there. Yeah, next stop, the Don's room of the old Revache building. Let's see what we can drag out of Lechter. Indeed. Let's actually go hand that in first before we go speak to Lechter. That's intriguing, though. Again, it's like, well, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Again, don't give away what actually happened, otherwise that ruins the entire fun of it. Like, we want to have fun with this. Yeah, very, 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 very... That's what I wanted to do. Change over to someone else at this point. Right, so we need to go see Lechter. My own detective brain is buzzing right now. If that wasn't obvious. There's no one posted here anymore. I imagine the department at least locked up the building before they left. In other words, Flyboy probably picked the lock when he got here, or went through the gap that the Red Constellation left, I imagine. Never mind that, we should head inside. And here we go. Can I go anywhere else? No. See, there we go. He is further ahead. Let's find out what this is all about. Anything... Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit. So long ago since we played that game. Well, no, it's not, but, you know. Lechter Arundel, Imperial Army Intelligence Division Captain. Have to be careful around him and watch what we say. Let's enter only once we're ready. Want to no return then. Once you proceed into the room, you will not be able to buy items, adjust equipment, or change your orbits for some time. Any outstanding support requests will expire. Let's just get Randy's CP up. Open the door and enter. What's up, guys? Working hard or hardly working? Looks like you didn't bring the defense force here with you, at least. Don't take that as a sign that we won't drag you out of here in handcuffs. Still reason to believe that you're connected to the Red Constellation's actions. Triple dot. I guess we're not doing foreplay today. How about you tell us what you're doing in Crossbell? Or better yet, tell us where the hell the Red Constellation is. You would know. The Imperial government is their contractor. And you are the point of contact, are you not? One question at a time, kiddos. Jeez. First up, I got here on the first train from the Empire earlier today. Oh, Mangiliev's orders. The Blood-and-Iron Chancellor again. For what purpose? Well, I could get into all of that, but I think there's something you guys gotta know about first. The Imperial Army is going to invade Crossbell this afternoon. Even I'm like, what? Yep. I'm not falling for that. It's like, so that's what happens. Nah, I wouldn't doubt it. The way things are heading, I think he could be telling the truth. Are they going to go straight through Bellegarde Gate? Yep, there's an armor division that's ready to go at Greaaaaaaat Fortress. Can't believe I said that. It's just one for now, but you know how it'll go. It's because I'm too focused in it, getting drawn in. And they're equipped with the Empire's latest tanks and tons of other bells and whistles. Crossbell's armored cars are going to get kicked around like tin cans. We have to report this immediately to the the defense force. No point. Not like they don't already know. Already sent a notice to the state government. Declaration of war, I suppose. That's fair. Well, Mandita still hasn't lifted the IBC's asset freeze, and then went and crowned himself as president. Can't seriously be stupid enough to think that he can stop an invasion by the Imperial Army. Or can he? That's why I'm hearing Crossbell. The hell's that supposed to mean? Is this about Arios being appointed the Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Force? I'm not sure. Arios is the strongest martial artist I know, but he's only one man. Can't fight an entire army. I'm getting so excited right now, by the way, because it's like, obviously because I know future events, but it's that case of like, it's exciting to see everything happening and where it's leading and stuff like that. Again, because I know the future events, this is why I'm excited. Because I can see these guys, these four right here, finally understanding what the hell has been happening in the background. That's what's exciting to me, seeing these four I think the best way of putting it is that sort of thing like, the Zemuria story has been happening constantly. We as viewers, players, have been going through it and we know what's happening. These four do not know what's going on. And they're about to properly join the greater story, if that makes sense. Like, they've been connected here and there, but they've not been part of the major story, really, until about now. And that's what's exciting to me. It's like the world is about to open up to them. And I can't wait to see how they're going to react. It's going to be freaking great. Anyway, could they have a trump card up their sleeve? Perhaps they have reached some sort of deal with the Republic to keep the Imperial Army in check. If that were the case, the President wouldn't have been so critical of the Republic in his speech. Must be planning to confront Calvard too. That's exactly right. Who? Kilika? Yep. I was gonna say, like, it makes sense. Huh? You're here too? Kilika? Good to see you again. And to you as well, Captain Arundel. I apologize for being late. Don't worry about it. We were just getting started. So how are things going for your team? Smooth. More or less. An armoured aviation division has been deployed to the outskirts of Altair. The Republican army is on the move too? Armoured aviation division? And they're ready to attack from both the sky and the ground? Correct. It's a unit equipped with the latest mobile tank models as well as patrol ships. It's the most mobile division within the Republican army. Gotta be kidding me. Pincer attacked by both major powers. A rock and a hard place, to say the least. There's no denying what brought about the situation. It was due to Croy, his refusal to compromise and the drastic action he's taken. So how will things turn out, I wonder? Guess it's my turn again. I'll do you a solid and answer the second question you gave me. The second one? I mean about the Red Constellation. It's gonna be like, we didn't contract them. Yeah, it's a pretty simple answer. You ready? I don't know, no one does. The real government itself has no idea where they are. Oh, that bit. The can't be. Did you bring us all the way here just to lie to our faces? Expect me to believe that after them tearing Crossbell inside out was after your contract with them was over? Hold on just a second. You know the Red Constellation had a contract with the Imperial government at the time of the trade conference. They were hired to kill the terrorists who were targeting the Chancellor's life. Isn't that right? Bingo! Guess you must have heard it straight from the military monster's mouth. That's a feeling I can't shake right now. You suggesting that the Imperial government's contract with them ended upon that happening? What? That would mean... I don't like where this is going. Not gonna lie, Lloyd. That detective's nose of yours would be pretty useful somewhere like the intelligence division. When you're a bit rougher around the edges. Then was I right? Yeah, nail on the head. The Imperial government hasn't had any contact with the Red Constellation since the trade conference. But it's pretty weird that they didn't pack up and leave Crossbell as soon as our contract was over. Even I was shocked they had the balls to do what they did. No way. And why would Uncle and the others pull something like that? Could they have signed a new contract, perhaps with the Society? I think that's unlikely. During the LaBelle incident, the Society had a fleet of foot soldiers they referred to as enhanced Jaegers. They were to launch a full-scale attack on Crossbell. I'm certain they would have used what is already at their disposal. That makes more sense. In other words, there would be no need for them to hire an outside corp for something like that. That lets us narrow down the list of suspects. Also can't rule out that whoever is responsible wanted to make it seem like the Imperial government was behind it. Combined with that, the party would have something to gain by Crossbell being attacked. They also need to be well funded to enter a long-term contract with one of the highest ranking corps on the continent. No, it can't be. I think we're just about done here. The truth is occasionally the last place we want to find it. Hold on a moment. The two of you suggesting... You're saying that there's only one possible explanation? No, we probably shouldn't jump to conclusions. Lechter, KeA, thanks for telling us all of this. I know this is a difficult spot given your positions. We'll take it from here. We should... Hello? Bannings of the Special Support Section. Thank goodness. Finally went through. Lloyd, it's Cecile. Cecile? You sound frantic. What's going on? Just now. Arius came to the building just now. Taken KeA. Arius was there? And then he took KeA with him somewhere. What? I tried to stop the but KeA, Can you come back here right away? This would be easier to explain in person. I'll be right there. Cecile, stay put and wait for us. What's going on? Like you just saw a ghost. Arius went to the SSS building and took KeA somewhere. The hell? Why would he do such a thing? We have to get back to the SSS building right away. KeA, Lechter, we're going now. Of course, be careful. Good luck, guys! Guess that little missy really was the key to everything. Think they'll make it in time? I do. But what awaits them once they get there will prove much more difficult. Cecile! Lloyd, tell us what happened to KeA. You said she was taken by Arios. It's true. Arios came by in the new white uniform of his. He said that he'd come to pick her up, and she nodded to him. You're kidding. You mean KeA went with him willingly? That's how it seemed to me. Where's Zai? But it was strange since I know she didn't have your permission to leave, so I tried to stop her. But KeA told me that it was fine. Zai was agitated, but it calmed him down. Just notice, is Zai not here? He wandered off on his own after those two left. May have gone after them, but I couldn't say for sure. What in the world is happening? Don't remember her having plans with Shizuku today. Thought that might have been the case, but it didn't appear to be. I believe Arios said they were departing for Michelin. They're going to the Castle of Mirrors. Michelin? Yes, he mentioned a boat was ready. That can only mean that they were departing for Michelin, right? Michelin has been on lockdown for the last few days. Why would he choose to take her there of all places? Damn, something's definitely off. We should follow them, Lloyd. Yeah, we have to secure a boat for ourselves. Thank you, Cecile. We'll try chasing them down. Be careful out there. Didn't like the look of either KeA or Arios' faces. They have just as bad a feeling as you do. I know. Better find them and get to the bottom of this.